Recent footage of Diddy's flamboyant freak-off parties emerged shortly before his recent arrest. It seems that Diddy had a premonition of his impending legal troubles as he flaunted the allure of his infamous parties from his glamorous all-white parties where a promise flocked to the opulent launch events for his albums. Diddy's gatherings were the epitome of exclusivity with strictly controlled invites. Only a select few had the privilege of attending his secret parties. But what made these parties the talk of the town? Why are Diddy's freak-off gatherings now sparking new debates and controversies? In this video we delve into the secrets behind Diddy's most sensational parties since the accusation was made public. Is the term freak-off has become synonymous with Sean Combs Diddy. His reputation as a host of opulent events began with his infamous all-white parties, where guests had to be dressed all in white. These parties were the epitome of glamour and sophistication. They attracted prominent musicians and influential personalities from various. The success of these events laid the foundation for the later legendary freak-off parties. But recently a video of a party he threw in 2009 resurfaced, in which guests can be seen in various outfits dancing and having seemingly carefree fun, including Diddy himself can be seen addressing his guests and announcing that he was collecting money for the purchase of mosquito nets as a fundraiser. But shortly afterwards rumors began to circulate that there were events that took place at night that no one would have ever thought possible. While the parties were public and glamorously staged, Diddy's gatherings had a much darker side. Behind the scenes in his villa, secret and extravagant events also took place, which were known as freak-offs. These parties were known to have little to do with the glitzy events seen in the media and were instead elaborate sex performances featuring celebrity rappers, stars and a mixed group of being invited to meet with Diddy in person, to make a cocaine deal. Diddy is said to see him in a bathrobe at the door, received and led him to a back bedroom. According to the dealer, what he saw there was beyond anything he could have imagined. Celebrities, including some well-known rappers, were involved in sexual activity with each other, many under the influence of ketamine and GHB. He described the parties as scenes of utter debauchery in which dissociative drugs such as ketamine and GHB were often used to create an atmosphere in which inhibitions were lowered and boundaries were pushed to the extreme. The presence of high-profile personalities made the situation even more shocking. According to him, the dealer explained that the involvement in these events had damaged the public image of many celebrities. He hinted that some guests did not know about the darker aspects of the parties, but the revelations would have left permanent stains on their public images. The dealer admitted that after what he saw at these gatherings, he had lost respect for certain rappers. He reported being shocked and disturbed when he saw unexpected connections between people he had never heard of. He didn't name names, but he confessed that he had heard some of these rappers, but that was not all. There were also reports that some NBA players had had their own experiences at Diddy's parties. The rise of Diddy's freak-off parties coincided with the growing intertwining of the worlds of music and sports, particularly the NBA. Together in the late 1990s and early 2000s, the NBA experienced a cultural renaissance with players like Michael Jordan, Shaquille O'Neal and Allen Iverson, who became global icons. These athletes were not only sports stars but also athletes whose lifestyles reflected the glitz and glamour of Hollywood. Reflected Diddy, always in step with the cultural zeitgeist, recognized the potential to unite the worlds of hip-hop and professional basketball. His parties became a hotspot for NBA player. Was the level of exclusivity and privacy they offered. These events were by invitation only, ensuring that only the elite and trusted individuals were present. This sense of exclusivity created an environment in which guests could relax and truly enjoy themselves without fear of public scrutiny or to have media attention. With the spread of stories about Diddy's freak-off parties, quickly became legendary. Stories of wild escapades, shocking behavior and unforgettable moments began to circulate. Adding to the mystery and allure of these events, especially the NBA players were known to let loose at these parties and indulge in the hedonistic pleasures they offered, from wild dance contests to spontaneous performances at a Diddy freak-off party. Anything was possible. On a fateful and unforgettable evening, Diddy joined Conan O'Brien to talk about his latest projects and, of course, his legendary parties. The conversation began in a casual and relaxed way. humorous way when Diddy gave his tips on how to organize a great party. He explained that the main ingredients were beautiful women and of course beautiful men for the ladies as well as alcohol and water. The audience laughed along, obviously enchanted by the rapper's advice on how to legendary parties, but when Conan asked for more details the mood changed. Tone of the conversation. Diddy noted that many women would only drink water at parties and emphasized the importance of meeting their needs so they would stay. He even went so far as to suggest that locks on the doors might be necessary. Although the audience continued to laugh and uneasiness began to creep in, Conan maintained his professionalism, tried to keep the conversation going, but it was obvious that Diddy's comments had unsettled many. Conan, who was visibly uncomfortable, tried to redirect the conversation by he noticed that Diddy was starting to sound a little dangerous. Diddy just smiled and remarked that it was a little kinky. Diddy went on to explain that it was to create the right atmosphere. It was important to turn off the air conditioning as he believed that heat affected the alcohol, and to take care of it, that everyone felt more comfortable and relaxed, so that they broke into a slight sweat while he talked about how he made his guests feel comfortable and relaxed. The laughter in the audience became noticeably more restless. Conan interrupted and said it was disgusting in length, but Diddy, unfazed, persisted that good music and his presence are essential elements of the section. Ended with the usual applause and laughter, but the disturbing undertone of Diddy's comments remained at the time. It was dismissed as part of his larger 10-life Perron. However, remained. Secrets in the age of social media rarely stay hidden for long. After Diddy's arrest in September 2024, the video of the interview quickly went viral online, and what was once perceived as a harmless joke has now been subjected to intense scrutiny and critical analysis. The origins of Diddy's freak-off parties can be traced back to the early 1990s, tracing a time in which Sean Diddy Coles quickly rose in the music industry. Known for his larger-than-life personality and his talent, unforgettable events, Diddy quickly became a central figure in the world of hip-hop and entertainment. His parties were not just gatherings but experiences that were meticulously planned to leave a lasting impression on each guest. From the early days of the 1990s, when stars like Naomi Campbell and Jennifer Lopez experienced the first waves of luxury, to the lavish theme parties of the 2000s and beyond, Diddy's events have been the symbol of Hollywood excess. Mariah Carey and Jennifer Lopez, both icons of the music industry, also suffered considerable damage to their image due to their alleged participation in Diddy's parties. Stood in contrast to the glamorous and polished personas they had built up over the years. Russell Simmons, who had already faced multiple allegations of sexual misconduct, also found himself further embroiled in controversy when his name appeared on the list of attendees. This intensified discussions about his behavior and the wider culture of misconduct in the entertainment industry. Supermodel Naomi Campbell, who attended one of these parties, described it as a night of pure glamour, recalling the impressive decorations, the abundance of champagne and the impressive star-studded guest list, noting that there was nothing like it that she had ever seen. Another legendary event was the Bad Boy family reunion party in 1998 at the legendary Palladium nightclub to celebrate Diddy's record label. Bad Boy Entertainment rapper Lil' Kim #####, a close friend and collaborator of Diddy, remembered the night, describing it as wild and unforgettable. She recalled the electric energy in the atmosphere and emphasized that everyone came together to celebrate the success of Bad Boy 199. Did hosted the Forever album release party at the renowned Studio 54 in Las Vegas, an homage to the disco era with glittering disco balls and retro decor. Actress and singer Jennifer Lopez, who was dating Diddy at the time, described the event as a night of pure fun, recalling the incredible performances, the lively atmosphere and the strong sense of nostalgia reminiscent of stepping back in time. The early years of Diddy's parties were also celebrated by the annual White Party, which began in the Hamptons in 1998, quickly became one of the most exclusive and honored events in the world. Hollywood model Cindy Crawford was a frequent guest at the party, which she remembered as a summer highlight. Glamour. Some celebrities have shared more chaotic memories of Diddy's early parties. In an interview, rapper Snoop Dogg recalled a 199 New Year's Eve party where things got out of control. He described the scene as wild, with people partying like there was no tomorrow, and revealed that the police had to be called at some point, despite of chaos. Snoop Dogg admitted it was one of the most memorable nights of his life, the revelation of the celebrity list associated with Diddy's controversial parties. Shocked Hollywood and beyond. It all began as an anonymous source leaked a document online that contained the names of high-profile celebrities who had allegedly attended Diddy's infamous gatherings. The list included some of the biggest names in the entertainment industry, including Leonardo DiCaprio, Jay-Z, Beyoncé, Ashton Kutcher, Paris Hilton, and many more. The reactions of the listed celebrities. Asher, who had previously lived with Diddy, claimed his account had been hacked after all his previous posts suddenly disappeared. This action only fueled further speculation about his participation. Megan Fox and Pink took drastic measures by selling all of their posts on Instagram and X deleted, which caused even more curiosity and suspicion among her followers. Justin Bieber, who was once promoted by Diddy, also came under intense scrutiny. A spokesperson for Bieber explained that Bieber is trying not to focus on the allegations against Diddy as he is currently in a happy phase since he became a father. Yet, theories that Bieber may have been a victim of Diddy continued to grow, increasing the fascination and interest in the case and the wider implications for those associated with Diddy's parties. The celebrities brought in were significant. While none of them had yet been implicated in the trafficking case, their silence spoke volumes. The public increasingly questioned how much these high-profile individuals knew about the illegal activities taking place at Diddy's meetings. The fact that many of them chose to remain silent only fueled speculation and suspicion, e.g. Leonardo DiCaprio, Jay and Beyoncé, who were all known for their philanthropic efforts and their public commitment, are known among intensive, observing fans, and critics wondered how these celebrities, who often speak out on social issues, could be involved in such a scandal without taking a public stance. Many interpreted their silence as a silent admission that they knew about what was happening even if they were not directly involved. Ashton Kutcher, a vocal campaigner against human trafficking, found himself in a particularly precarious position. His alleged participation in Diddy's parties seemed to contradict his public stance against the issue, leading to a wave of criticism and disbelief. Kutcher's silence only added to the controversy and left many doubt his true commitment to the cause. Paris Hilton, Howard Stern, and Russell Brand, all known for their wild and provocative public personas, were also targeted, although their participation in such parties was not entirely surprising given their reputations. Serious allegations against Diddy shed new light on her behavior. The party scene of the 1990s was a spectacle of opulence and excess, and comes was its unchallenged king, but the extravagance and excess often came at a price. Noise, complaints, overcrowding, and reports of unruly behavior often led to police interventions. But instead of being deterred, his defiant attitude towards the authorities only added to the appeal of his parties and made them even more desirable. An attendee at one of Diddy's parties recalled how the police once arrived because of excessive noise, but instead of shutting down the event, Diddy simply moved the party to a new location. And the attendees commented that it seemed like Diddy thrived on the excitement of such situations, describing the parties as wild and unpredictable, with moments where guests were dancing while the next moment a celebrity was doing something crazy. It was chaotic, but that very chaos made the experience so exciting for many. Attending one of Sean Cole's parties became a kind of status symbol, a sign of belonging to the elite of the entertainment business. In an interview from 199 that has resurfaced, Combs seemed to have predicted his arrest. He explained that the authorities did not want him to host parties and hinted that they might even arrest him, but emphasized that they would not stop him. These words captured the rebellious spirit of his legendary events while continuing to organize some of the most memorable parties in show business history, despite the constant scrutiny and interference. On September 16, Sean Diddy comes in, New York City arrested. The arrest followed an intense months-long investigation. Federal agents had questioned several people, including 3 women and a man, about serious allegations against the music mogul. The allegations were nothing short of explosive. Diddy was accused of human trafficking, sexual assault, and solicitation and distribution of illegal drugs and weapons. These allegations painted a disturbing picture of a man who had long been a prominent figure in the music industry. While the investigation was ongoing, the pressure on Diddy increased. On March 25, 2024, federal agents led coordinated raids on Diddy's properties in Los Angeles and Miami to find evidence that could support the serious allegations against him. Among the alarming discoveries were 3 AR-15 rifles with serial numbers removed and a drum magazine. According to the indictment, these weapons were allegedly used by Diddy to intimidate and threaten his victims and witnesses, but the investigation did not end there. Federal agents also found so-called freak-off paraphernalia including various drugs and over 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant. Diddy's legal team led by Ayon Dara responded quickly. Dara described the house searches as an excessive use of military force and described the investigations as a witch hunt based on baseless accusations. He emphasized that there had been no criminal or civil convictions and that Diddy was determined to clear his name. Diddy's other lawyer Mark Agnifilo tried to play down the importance of the baby oil. He has doubts that there are actually 1,000 bottles, and instead realized that it could simply be a large quantity as many Americans shop in bulk, especially if there is a Costco nearby. Statement, however, did not seem to appease public interest and concerns. In a preview clip from the TMZ documentary The Downfall of Diddy, Agnifilo posited the idea that the baby oil intended for orgies was further questioned and expressed uncertainty as to why so many bottles would have been needed. He noted that one bottle of baby oil would last a long time, which called into question the need for 1,000 bottles. However, these comments were quickly refuted when Costco confirmed that none of its stores carry baby oil, with a Costco spokesperson told TMZ that the product was neither available on her website nor at her competitor Sam's Club. The contradictions only further fueled speculation surrounding the case. The dramatic climax of these events began on November 16, 2023, when singer Cassie, with real name Cassandra Ventura, filed a lawsuit against Sean Diddy Combs. Cassie, who signed with Diddy's label in 2005, accused him of years of abuse. She claimed he had sexually abused her and forced her to live with him, sleeping with other men. Cassie described Diddy as someone who was prone to uncontrollable rage and had drugged her into submission. The lawsuit alleged that Diddy 2018, when Cassie wanted to end the relationship, he invaded her home. Diddy's lawyers vehemently denied these allegations in a surprising twist. However, the lawsuit was settled out of court just one day after it was filed. The terms of the settlement remained confidential. Diddy released a statement in which he said, "We decided to resolve this matter amicably. I wish Cassie and her family all the best love." But the allegations did not stop there. On November 19, 2023, prosecutors revealed that Diddy had made several recorded calls to another abuse victim in which he asked for her support and friendship to convince her that she was voluntarily participating in the abuse. This was the beginning of months of attempts to bribe and put pressure on witnesses, and on November 23, 2023, two other women, Joy Dickerson and an unnamed woman, filed lawsuits against Diddy, accusing him of abusive beatings and forced drugging. In the early 1990s, when Diddy was still talent director, party organizer, and up-and-coming personality in the New York hip-hop scene, was Diddy's lawyer called these allegations false. The wave of allegations had significant business consequences for Diddy. On November 28, 2023, he temporarily resigned as chairman of his cable channel Revolt. This was just one of several business setbacks he faced as a result of the lawsuits. On December 6, in 2023, the situation escalated further when another woman filed a lawsuit claiming that she had been murdered by Diddy and two others in 2013 at the age of 17, men in a New York recording studio. She claimed to have been raped out of being flown from suburban Detroit to New York, where she was drugged and alcoholized, depriving her of the ability to consent. The men then raped her one after the other. On the same day, Diddy published a statement on Instagram in which he generally denied all accusations, denied he had done any of the horrible things he was accused of, adding that he would fight for his name, his family, and the truth. While the legal battles raged, more lawsuits emerged. On April 4, 2024, a lawsuit was filed and Diddy was named as a co-defendant in the lawsuit, claiming that his son, Christian King Combs, a woman on a yacht chartered by his father, sexually harassed him. The lawsuit claimed that Sean Combs had created the circumstances that led to the assault and was subsequently responsible for it. A lawyer for the two men called the allegations outrageous. Given the mounting legal challenges, Diddy began his defense strategy. On April 26, in 2024, his lawyers filed a motion to dismiss several parts of Joy's lawsuit. Dickerson on the grounds that the alleged incidents in 1990 to 1991 were not illegal at the time, while these objections are procedurally defensible, nature. The filing also criticized the numerous false, insulting and sensationalist allegations in the lawsuit. The legal maneuvering continued on May 10, 2024 when Diddy filed a federal judge Bart dismissed the lawsuit filed on December 6, which referred to the incident involving the 17-year-old Michigan woman. Again, the objections were procedural as the lawsuit was claimed to have been filed too late. Court documents called the allegations false and heinous. On May 17, 2024, a shocking turn of events occurred when CNN published a video showed how Diddy Cassie in the year 2016 in a hotel gang attack. The footage strongly resembled an assault she had described. In her lawsuit in the video was a man who resembled Diddy and only a to see him punching, kicking and throwing Cassie to the ground. According to the lawsuit, Diddy said at the time, 000 to make the video disappear. The Los Angeles District Attorney's Office said it could not prosecute Diddy for the assault in the video because the statute of limitations had expired, yet the incident was listed by federal prosecutors as part of the conspiracy charges against him. In a rare moment of public recognition, Diddy finally addressed the situation in an interview published in June 2024. He emphasized his innocence and called the allegations against him abd and false. He stated that he had been made the target of accusations in a hostile environment and insisted that all his previous relationships had been consensual and respectful. He also spoke out against the accusations about the impact the allegations have had on his family and his professional life. Despite his attempts to defend himself, the interview did little to change the public perception of the allegations, and the legal pressure continued to grow. Another alleged victim filed a lawsuit against Diddy, claiming in the early 2000s the woman claimed that she had been drugged and later sexually abused by Diddy and several other men. These new allegations increased the pressure on the music mogul to face the public, but Diddy stuck to his strategy of talking about his. Despite the seriousness of the allegations and the growing number of lawsuits, Diddy's closest friends and family, including several prominent personalities such as musicians, were unable to comment. Actors and athletes who had cultivated close relationships with Diddy over the years remained silent about the accusations or only made indirect statements. The fact that long-standing friends and partners did not explicitly distance themselves from him led to speculation about how deep their ties ran to Diddy's notorious Perry's. Meanwhile, Diddy's business empire was also in danger of having its brand, Ciroc, one of the most famous vodka brands in the world, was boycotted by several retailers. Diverse business partners who had previously signed lucrative contracts with Diddy began to re-evaluate their partnerships. Many large events and advertising campaigns in which Diddy was originally supposed to play a central role were quietly redesigned or cancelled altogether. Despite all these developments, a question central: how much did the celebrity guests of Diddy's parties really know? Celebrities like Leonardo DiCaprio, Jay-Z, Beyoncé, Ashton Kutcher and many others have been repeatedly featured in. Some of these stars had campaigned for social justice and human rights for decades, which made their alleged attendance at these parties all the more problematic. Particularly Ashton Kutcher, who had earned a reputation as a committed activist through his work against human trafficking, was harshly criticized for his alleged participation in the parties. Many wondered how someone so intensely committed against such crimes could participate in such events without publicly denouncing them. His continued silence on the matter cast a shadow over his involvement as the investigation into Diddy continued. Pressure grew on other celebrities to speak out about the allegations. For many, it was no longer just a question of morality but also a question of image and personal reputation. Celebrities previously associated with Diddy were increasingly forced to take a stand to protect their own reputations. Amidst this escalation, another significant discovery was made on August 12, 2024. The New York Times published a report described that Diddy's freak-off parties were actually far more than exclusive gatherings of celebrities. According to the newspaper, involved a complex network of illegal activities that included not only sexual assault but also human trafficking and drug abuse. The investigation suggested that several prominent figures may have been aware of these machinations, although they did not actively participate in them. This report led to An unprecedented public outcry calls for justice and transparency grew louder, and it seemed inevitable that Diddy's case could represent a turning point in the way the entertainment industry deals with such scandals. Some have called for sweeping reforms and new regulations to more effectively combat abuses in the industry with the ongoing litigation and the growing public interest in the allegations. The future of Sean Diddy remains uncertain while he insists he is innocent and will do anything to clear his name. The damage to his reputation and legacy appears to be irreparable. Combs published a video on Instagram and Facebook on May 19, 2024 in which he, for the attack on Cassie Combs, stated that his behavior in the video was unforgivable and that he takes full responsibility for his actions. He emphasized that he was disgusted with himself at the time and still feels that way. Combs mentioned that he had sought professional help he also said that he had asked God for mercy and forgiveness and sincerely apologized. The scandal surrounding the leaked video further tarnished Combs' public image on June 10, 2024, at the request of the mayor of New York. Eric Adams returned his symbolic key to the city. Adams stated that he was deeply disturbed by the video. A day earlier, Howard University had announced that it had returned the key to the city to him. Honorary doctorate would be revoked and a scholarship program in his name dissolved as part of his strategy against the numerous lawsuits Combs filed on August 26, 2024 before a federal court to dismiss the lawsuit filed by a music producer in February. His lawyers argued that the lawsuit was full of improbable stories of sensational exaggerations and legally meaningless allegations designed only to generate media attention and force a financial settlement in advance of a possible indictment and the impending surrendering himself. Combs traveled to New York on September 5, 2024, and checked into a Manhattan hotel. According to a motion later filed by his attorneys, preparing to turn himself in on September 16, in 2024, the legal drama reached its climax when Combs was arrested in his Manhattan hotel after a grand jury indicted him. His lawyer called it an unjust prosecution of an imperfect human being who is not a criminal. The lawyer explained that Combs actually planned to turn himself in but was arrested beforehand the following day, September 17, 2024. The indictment against Combs was made public, in which he was named as a leader of a criminal organization described as being involved in human trafficking, forced labor, prostitution, arch trafficking, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. The prosecution alleged he had shown a persistent and pervasive pattern of abuse against women and others that included physical violence to satisfy his sexual needs and to damage his reputation, protect and conceal his behavior. Combs appeared in federal court in New York where he pleaded not guilty, but the judge ordered him held without bail pending trial. Detention in a dramatic turning point seems to be one of the greatest figures in the music industry. Diddy suddenly faced the collapse of his career as his past has apparently caught up with him. What once began as a story of success has quickly turned into a story full of controversy as more and more information emerged about celebrities taking part in Diddy's infamous parties. Adding to the scandal, the revelations about well-known personalities such as Asher, who was present at Diddy's parties as a teenager, led many to suspect that the network of those involved was larger than previously assumed. Focus of public attention as he is named as one of the most frequent guests at these parties, the scandal surrounding Diddy's parties and his machinations is increasingly seen as emblematic of the excesses and darkness of the entertainment industry of the 1990s and 2000s. While many celebrities distanced themselves from him, the public remained curious about what other revelations would come to light. All sorts of wild things are said to have happened at these white parties, and some of the biggest and most frequent guests are conspicuously silent about it. While some people still deny that famous celebrities were wrapped up in these escapades, it's hard to believe them when you can literally see photos of them in bed together. The party where all the celebrities were in bed together took place on July 4, 2000 in the Hamptons, and Dame Dash was also in attendance. Unlike others who attended these parties where Dame Dash has spoken publicly about his experience on September 22, he said in an Instagram live, "I wasn't at these parties. I was about 20 years ago at one in the Hamptons with Alia, and that was it, but a lot of people were at those parties. You know what I mean?" That he says he wasn't at those parties but then says he was at one is a bit contradictory, but let's see what else he says. "Nothing happened in the Hamptons that day. I have Alia, We got to know each other and then we hung out and left. That's what happened. He then talked about what he thinks of the crimes he is accused of, that people watch others do things that could be immoral, but as long as they are not caught no one says anything. He added, whether it's illegal or immoral, I'm out. I'm not waiting for someone to get caught or for someone else to say they're doing something wrong. Whether it's all true no one knows, but you have to give him respect for talking about it. Other guests at the party like Jay's and Leonardo DiCaprio have spoken out about it. So far we don't know who was at these parties, but it's the things that happened there that everyone is talking about. What happened at Diddy's parties, even without the illegal things. We know that these parties were wild with no women, alcohol and celebrities. That's what the pictures show, but more and more people are now reporting what really happened, and that's shocking. In Diddy's dictatorial speech we hear him talking about the children. The children have to go home. The children have about an hour left, so make yourselves comfortable kids, because after that you all have to go. It's over for you, because then it turns into something you don't want to come to when you're older. Where do we start? Why are there kids at these parties anyway, and why does he sound so creepy when he talks about them, and what happens when they're gone? Reportedly there were lots of naked bodies snorting drugs and other things you'd only expect to see in movies. Diddy must have felt untouchable at the time, as he probably organized the most crowded celebrity parties in the world, but strangely enough, the people who attended the parties didn't listen. These white parties suddenly stopped in 2008 and he never organized them again. He didn't stop partying, he just renamed them. Why? Probably a drug dealer who allegedly supplied drugs to Diddy at one of the parties had a few things to say to the NYPD. He said, you saw two people that you never thought had anything to do with each other, rappers that shocked me, and I'm not going to name names, but it were rappers that I immediately couldn't take seriously anymore. After being greeted by Diddy, who was wearing nothing but a bathrobe, he was led into a back room where he saw many celebrities high on drugs doing all kinds of crazy things. Then I ran away. He even said a guy whose job it is to supply drugs to criminals found it too extreme. That says a lot. Now Diddy was arrested and accused of organizing and participating in so-called freak-offs. The name alone says what kind of things allegedly took place. It is said that Diddy arranged and ran parties where he masturbated. He is said to have flown in sex workers from all over the world to take part in these freak-offs, which lasted for days and involved loads of drug use. These parties were so intense that Diddy and the participants allegedly had to take intravenous fluids to recover from the drugs and physical exertion. To make matters worse, police found house search in April things they thought were freak-off paraphernalia. They found over 1,000 bottles of lube as well as illegal AR-15 rifles. The guns were probably not used at the freak-offs, but who knows? The stats. Lawyers say Diddy filmed these parties and used the footage to blackmail the people involved. They also claim that he used these recordings to silence everyone. That might explain why people who we know attended these parties refuse to talk about it when they enter. The freak-offs were involved probably did have the footage and nobody would want that to go public. The prosecutors also say that did physically abuse them and it sometimes took days for them to recover. An alleged insider called Tom Swoop has come forward and spoken about his experience on one of the Hamptons. He claims to have seen many well-known personalities doing it, how they used drugs. Also an 18-year-old male was allegedly offered a record deal if he would perform an act on a bodyguard. So we have people who were allegedly there talking about their experiences, and now we see evidence of freak-off paraphernalia like the Taz bottles, lube. The situation doesn't look good for the celebrities who attended these parties, especially people like Jay's, who is known to have been a frequent guest at Diddy's parties. 50 Cent, who has been trolling Diddy from the beginning, spoke up to make fun of Jay's for letting Diddy down. He posted a photo on Instagram showing Jay's face on a milk carton with the caption, "Jay's no longer answers Diddy's calls." 50 Cent seems to be enjoying the drama and is trolling Diddy, and the people who call have been attending these parties for some time. As Diddy's house in March was searched, 50 Cent posted a picture and wrote, "Now it is no longer called Diddy Does It, but Diddy Is. They only come like this when you have a case." He also talked about the lubricant bottles and posted a picture with a caption making fun of them. 2007 kicked Diddy, 50 Cent and Jay's performed together at Screamfest, and while Faye is meanwhile distanced from them, Diddy and Jay's did something very strange. Diddy went to Jay's and slapped him on the butt several times. What to make of it we leave to you. Jay is one of many who are now in the spotlight because of these allegations. but at the moment he is keeping quiet about others. However, the reason why the whole Diddy scandal started is that a person very close to him filed a lawsuit containing many of the crimes he is now accused of, including also the freak-offs. Her name is Cassie Ventura and she met Diddy when she was 19 and he 37. She was an up-and-coming R&B singer who signed with Diddy's record label Beatty Records. Shortly afterwards, they began a relationship that lasted over a decade until she finally left him in 2018. In November 2023, Cassie filed a lawsuit against Diddy in which she accused him of sexual abuse and maltreatment. Initiated a lawsuit against the chain of events that are probably one of the main reasons why Diddy is now in prison. The lawsuit did not lead to his arrest as Cassie decided to settle the case for an undisclosed amount of money. Nevertheless, the lawsuit describes how Diddy forced her to participate in freak-offs and perform sexual acts with male prostitutes. The lawsuit was settled after only 1 day and thus Diddy thought the thing settled, but the complaint mentions a specific incident where Diddy put her in a hotel room and dragged her back into the room when she tried to flee. At the time of the lawsuit, Diddy and his attorney denied all allegations and stated that the settlement of the lawsuit was not an admission of guilt. Employee of Diddy filed his own lawsuit which reignited his legal problems. About 7 months later, a video surfaced that went viral and supported Cassie's statements in the lawsuit. In this video that went viral in the spring of 2024, Diddy can apparently be seen attacking Cassie and by the hair back into the bedroom, very similar to what she had described in the lawsuit. Diddy couldn't really deny it because it was caught on video, so he released a apology video. I was down but I make no excuses. My behavior in this video is inexcusable. Another interesting aspect of Cassie's case is that she said Diddy forced her to perform sexual acts with male prostitutes. A man spoke out in 2018 to something similar, but back then he was not taken seriously. This man, a gay sex worker, was questioned by police and talked about having sex with Diddy and Cassie. He said, "I had sex with Cassie and Sean. Basically he masturbated and told me what I should do with Cassie." He said it had happened over 15 times, which is sounds crazy, but that wasn't all he had to say. He also claimed that other famous personalities like DJ CET and Rick Ross are also gay. Cassie Ventura is not the only person who betrayed Diddy. There are more and more complaints and they all come from people who knew Diddy personally, as Richard was another singer who was close to Diddy, is now also making allegations against him. She was part of the R&B group Denity Kane that Diddy put together after an MTV show called Making the Band. She was also in some of Diddy's songs, but now she says that Diddy owes her several $1 million because, and the rest of the group were very close to Diddy and also Cassie, and even performed in his famous song Coming Home. Interestingly, Coming Home was written by Jay-Z and given to Diddy as a gift. Dawn Richard said she had witnessed things during her time around Diddy, including verbal, physical and sexual abuse, claiming Cassie had been abused in front of her and that celebrities such as Neo Azar and music producer Jimmy Iovine had witnessed the abuse. Another man, Rodney Jones, who co-produced Diddy's new album, filed his own lawsuit claiming Diddy and other celebrities sexually assaulted him. Most of the people who betrayed Diddy are musicians, but his old friend LeBron James has also distanced himself from him. LeBron unfollowed Diddy on Instagram after the video of him assaulting Cassie was released. LeBron was once a big fan of Diddy's parties and once said, "Everyone knows there's no party like a Diddy party." Diddy's his circle of friends is getting smaller by the day, but some remain loyal to him. R. Kelly is one of those names associated with human trafficking and is probably the last person to turn to Diddy's defense should report, but Kelly to 30 years in prison for human trafficking and extortion. Was convicted. Does not believe in the charges against Diddy. In a conversation with WAC 100 from prison, R. Kelly reportedly said he agrees with Biggie, who once said the feds were just mad because Diddy. R. Kelly also warned that famous people would be hounded regardless of whether the allegations against them were true or not, concluding, he said, "I believe none of what is said about Puffy. You can tell me what you want, I don't believe it because I am in the middle of it and know what they are doing." R. Kelly will spend the rest of his life, or at least spend most of it, in prison, and with the current development Diddy could join him. The number of people who still defend Diddy can probably be counted on one hand. Count. One of the few is Justin Bieber, whose career Diddy once helped launch. "Look at this, what's up man, everything's fine, I'm fine, how's everything going with you young brother?" Is going great. You're selling out arenas and starting to change, or you haven't called me and we're not hanging out like we used to. Justin replies, now you've been trying to talk to me about to reach my people, but you never really got my number. So then, did the OK say my number? It seems strange to see a 40-year-old man so desperate to hang out with a minor. Will Justin looks nervous and uncomfortable, and it's no wonder that some people think something has happened, yet the two of them have remained friends and have stayed together. Years later, another video surfaced of Diddy patting down Justin Bieber like he was looking for a wiretap. Diddy's behavior in this video is pretty strange, but the two seem very familiar with each other. At the end, when they say goodbye, Justin says something that sounds like I love you. That was in 2021, so it looked like they were still close friends at the time. But after Diddy's arrest, Justin has remained silent. However, a spokesperson has stated that Justin was aware of Diddy's arrest and the allegations, but that's not something he wants to focus on. Justin probably knows a lot about the crimes Diddy is accused of, and his silence could be seen as a kind of defense. Another who openly defended Diddy was Russell Simmons. Simmons, an author and music manager, said in May, after Diddy was arrested, it's painful watching our brothers fall. That everyone comes together and laughs at our brothers fall or supports it is hard. Russell urged people to focus on the positive. Focus on how Diddy could have positively influenced their careers. Sim himself is also facing allegations of sexual assault. It seems that only people accused of self-same crimes who directly defend them, that so few of his friends want to publicly clear his name, says a lot about his character. Most have probably afraid of being caught as well, and now we know that the FBI had Diddy and his entourage in their sights for a while. As the FBI caught Diddy on September 20th, there is footage showing how Diddy was taken into custody. You can see him going into a hotel where two policemen are waiting for him. One has the documents, the other the handcuffs. They show Diddy that he should follow them while his companions seem shocked and helpless. They lead him through the hotel, a hallway, and then back outside. He was then taken to one of the worst prisons in New York, where he will remain until his trial. Many believe that the investigation began with Cassie Ventura's lawsuit, but now some think that they have been running much longer. In the prosecution, will Diddy, accused of abusing, threatening and coercing women for years to fulfill his sexual desires, and that he used his power and influence to avoid arrest until September. Civil lawsuits by alleged victims, but there have been no federal indictments yet. Many believe, however, that the Justice Department's successful case against served as a blueprint to nab Diddy in arrear. Kelly's case, the federal agents secured a conviction on charges related to racketeering and human trafficking. They used the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act. RICO has a law that targets so-called criminal enterprises and is very harsh penalties. RICO cases have changed the game, especially when it comes to catching famous criminals, but it all depends on what evidence they find. Earlier this year, police raided Diddy's homes. At this time, the civil lawsuits were enough to justify the searches, but only now did we learn what they found. On March 25th, police searched his Los Angeles homes and Miami because he was the target of a federal investigation conducted by the Department of Homeland Security. The department stated that the investigation was based on many of the same allegations of sexual abuse cited in the civil lawsuits, because the Department of Homeland Security was responsible for the investigation of transnational crime and threats such as human trafficking, terrorism, drug smuggling and other organized criminal activities. So this was a serious matter. For more videos, follow and like and comment. Every 2 days you got a new video about Diddy and Hollywood scandals.